right, guys. So thanks everyone for joining. Like I said, hope everyone's having a good Memorial Day weekend. I'll just start by kind of introducing myself and my brief background, and then I'll let everyone introduce themselves, and then we can kind of just have a roundtable, see how everyone's interacting with AI and using it from day to day and so forth. And then if, questions, anything like that, of course, just don't hesitate to speak up or raise your hand, however y'all want to go about this. But my name's Grant Arencibia. I am a realtor here in the Northeast Georgia mountains. I'm actually with Century 21 Community Realty out of Clarksville. I've been using AI for a couple different things in my business, but my background, I got my degree at the University of North Georgia in digital marketing. So I kind of started in the e-com world, online marketing and so forth. I did a sales role for a little bit with a national home builder, and now I'm kind of more in the entrepreneurial route with real estate. So that's kind of my brief background. But I'll just kind of hand it off to Ryan. Do you want to introduce yourself and just explain a brief background and what you're doing and kind of schooling and all that, if you want to talk about that? You're on mute, Ryan. I can't hear you.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Of
Okay.
course, I'd be happy to. Thanks. And yeah, I hope someday we go into real estate together, into like a property.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so
Love to do that with anyone. So yeah, love real estate.
I have been in code for 10, 15 years now, and been building mobile apps and AI features for large audiences. And I recently completed like a boot camp, 3 months in Austin, Texas, and that really accelerated my coding development. Just who joined? Panoptic Digital Architecture. You're on mute.
You're on mute, Eric. Welcome in, though.
How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I am.
I
yeah, it's PDA for short, Ryan.
Eric, just to give you a quick update of where we're at, I just introduced myself, my background. Ryan's introducing himself and kind of his background and how he's using AI. So we're just kind of doing a roundtable right now, introducing everyone.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I've been in software for a while, and now I've been unemployed for like 10 months, and like part of that's by choice, and part of it's not by choice, but I won't get into the details. And so over the course of the last 10 months, I've had this extra time on my hands and been able to leverage AI in multiple ways. One, for my job search, I'd love to share my dashboard that I made for helping me like apply to jobs really well. And then the other thing is I filed my taxes this year with AI, my federal taxes, and I'll pass it off to somebody else.
Cool. All right. You want to go next, Eric? You?
I volunteer as tribute. I'll do it. Right. So I'm Eric, and I'm a Cancer. Right. I'll grow on you. Yeah, it's a bad joke, especially now. Anyway, right. I have technically been unemployed for a long time too. I actually can't remember the last time I had a typical employment type of job. I think I was 15. Yeah. Right. But ever since then, it's just been business after business after business. And the best thing for business, other than PDA, is AI. Right. Like all of the things that you can build with AI these days, like you don't need a developer to build a moat around anything. Last weekend, I started working on my own brain. Right. I mean, it's just a fancy way of saying a collection of markdown files, but you guys know this. Right? Like old Andre Karpathy showed the world how to make a brain. Right? And that's stuff that we can do now. Right? So I'd say the most important thing you guys can know about me is that I love this shit. I love it a lot, right? And I think we all have that in common.
Yeah.
Oh, and other than that, the reason I'm dressed like I'm from Miami is because I've been watching The Burrows. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Oh my God, it just came out. It's on Netflix, and it's crazy. It's by the same guys who made Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers. Yeah, right. It's about this retirement community, and aliens are involved, and it's crazy. Me and my wife are like, oh, we're going crazy for it. But anyway, I figured if I was going to watch a movie or a show about a retirement community, I might as well dress the part, right? And get this, like, I've got the whole thing, even the shorts match. Yeah.
Are those machetes? What are those on your table behind you?
I don't even know. I just figure it's what I'd wear if I was retired, because if I'm retired, I'm going to dress like an idiot. It's going to happen.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Do you have anything else to say before we go to the next one?
Nope. I think that's everything.
All right, Isaiah, do you want to go next, man?
Yeah. I am unemployed too, sort of by choice, sort of not. I was in a motor vehicle accident late last winter, so I've been on that unemployment reimbursement and saving from some of the money that came back there. And I decided to make a career switch. I was working in recovery and I just wasn't loving it. Wasn't what I wanted to do. And then I found user experience and anything with developing apps and websites and on the front end, and found that very fun and very creative, but also very consistent. So I'm doing a Google UX certification right now, and then just taking in as much information on everything. So AI is a huge part of what I use. I have I love Anthropic, and I use their membership, pretty high one right now because I burn tokens like it's wood in winter, so that's fun. But it is so much fun, and it's fun for someone who loves ideas. There's a book called Idea Flow that's really good. That has really helped me mature my ideation process. Really good book. So anyway, but my background is a lot of different jobs, a lot of different life experiences and moving around and whatnot. But I think this is kind of the career I want to get into is UX design, specifically in accessibility and microcopy. So that's kind of what I'm going to pivot to next once I'm done with my certification here shortly. And I'm just looking into internships right now to kind of see what I can do next for further education and get my foot in the careers of that and the big corporations. So yay, corporate for a little bit. So anyway, I love AI, and I think it's just like, for anyone who loves to build things, it's a perfect tool. It's a day-to-day tool. Our whole society has been using it for years. We just didn't know. It just got, more advanced and easier for the normal day-to-day person to use, I think, which is cool. And I think the skills of developing and engineering and even creation on a front end like design are here to stay, but will just be further enhanced with this tool. So I still find those jobs very necessary, but much easier and a much lower barrier of entry. And so I like the front end stuff and design stuff. So that's where my creativity gets tickled. That's me. Oh, and my name's Isaiah. So that's who I am.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice
Thanks,
to meet you
Isaiah.
guys.
All right, Wes or JT, who wants to go next?
I can go next.
All right, Wes.
My name is Wes. I actually work with Eric. We have a couple ventures together. But my full-time job basically started off in IT, system administrator type work, transitioning into AI and robotics. I'm also, in my part-time, a full stack developer and home DevOps kind of person. I really enjoy AI and all of the advancements has kind of brought to my field. But I specifically enjoy self-hosting, building your own hardware and equipment, working with your own local AIs as kind of my passion into it, more than just working with it in general. And I think we're kind of in for a really interesting future when it comes to this technology. So I try to
Hell yeah, we
stay
are.
as up to date with it as I can, but it feels like it's one of those things where, you know, new information kind of comes out every 30 minutes. So it feels like it's almost a full-time job just trying to keep up with everything that's constantly coming out and changing with this field. But I love it. I think it's really fun to learn new skills and kind of take on these challenges, and using AI to solve problems is kind of addicting in and of itself. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Dude, also, I just noticed this, and this has been your profile picture like on my phone naturally for a while. But, right, there's no I in team, but you found it. But it's actually an AI
Yeah.
in team.
Yeah, that's funny.
Dude, that's so solid. It aged well. I don't know how long you've had it, but it's perfect.
I've had it for probably like 16 years.
Yep. Okay.
It's
That
an
aged
old
fine
photo.
wine.
Visionary.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last but not least, JT.
Yeah, so I'm JT. I'm a buddy of Isaiah's. Been buddies since we were in diapers. So that's how I know some of you guys through extension. Nice to officially meet you guys. For me, I might be an edge case. I don't really like AI. I kind of hate it, but I kind of also like it, which I think is everybody. I know. But for me, so I grew up, I was always interested in technology. I did robotics, competition robotics when I was in high school. So it was always interesting to me. And then right now I currently work as IT SysAdmin, and I work in AV production. And so for me, a lot of what I look at in using AI is it's really difficult to get it into like an AV production to actually do something useful. And I do freelance production and AV stuff, a lot of, churches, venues, stuff like that. But yeah, so like AI for me, so if you've ever seen Parks and Rec and you know who Ron Swanson is, that's basically me. I have no AI subscriptions. I don't have any video subscriptions. Yeah. I like privacy a lot. And so self-hosting is massive for me. I just had to get rid of like 8 servers when I moved. But like for me, hosting, how do I not spend money on this, but still have it return? Like, how do I get the most ROI out of an AI system or like a workflow or something like that, that not only makes my job easier, but makes other people's jobs easier, as well as truly not, I know a lot of us know what OpenClaw or even like Hermes is. And it feels like trying to get a return out of some of those is you're basically pouring in a full-time job in order to get any type of return. And so for me, my goal with AI is how do I get the most bang for the buck? And how do I get it to really actually be helpful in places where it'll be the most effective it can be without causing headaches on the back end.
Okay, so I'm very curious about this. Right? What have you done so far? Where'd you start?
Where I start with AI?
Yeah. Like, what was the first thing? Okay, I want to generate an ROI with Hermes, right? Where'd you start? Which task?
Right. So I did Hermes. I dropped it. I tried it, dropped it. Maybe in the future I'll pick it back up. But for me, the biggest and most useful tool is N8N. Through workflows with N8N and using AI on that side, so that there's there's strict rules that the AI follows and strict access that it gets, as well as like a lot of the AI I run is self-hosted, so they're not the 128 billion parameter OpenAI. What is it, 4.5 now? And so 5.5. It doesn't have the best stuff, but for me, I'm like, I'd much rather not give my company or give my information to companies and corporations, and find a way to get AI self-hosted and actually be useful. Because I think that's one of the biggest things with self-hosted AI. Unless you've got Blackwells sitting in your closet that are worth more than your car, you're really not going to do a lot with it. And so for me, it's like, well, how do I find a way? Which I think you were talking about it, Eric, was the Zettelkasten or the second brain, and like really being able to use RAG with that kind of stuff. So it's giving you the correct information that is specific for use case scenarios, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like it. So you started with the data, manage the data, and that's a really good place to start. But God, it's a behemoth, man, right? If your first task before you can get your company integrated with AI, or at least get people able to use and start using AI to save time, is to get the entire company's knowledge base online, right? Build a vector database, build this whole RAG schlemiel, and then maybe build a front end on Obsidian where you can, draw relationships a little bit more accurately. That's a behemoth. It's so big, right? Like, maybe a place to start would be like, just on the front end, let's start automating little things, because you hit the nail right on the metal part whenever you mentioned N8N. And Wes, I know you're not saying it, so I appreciate it, but yeah, I feel the I told you so. I do.
Man, I probably have like 300 automations with N8N. Very simple stuff, just loaded with automations. And like 90% of it, people go, dude, this AI is great. I'm like, it's all programmed. It's not AI. It's not AI. It feels like AI because it's an encroaching neural network level of this. But to me, I'm like, that workflow will run 100% of the time exactly the same versus AI. I've had AI delete stuff on my computers, and so for me, it's like I've lost. AI's cost me money as well as gained me money. So my ROI is really zero at this point. But
I mean, fair, but at the end of the day, you build something that's going to keep running forever, even if your ROI is measured in a penny of a penny of a penny, right?
Exactly.
A million of a penny or something, right? Eventually, it's going to pay off. And I got to say, I like that. So you've already done this. I guess you're just currently working on the knowledge base, which is that behemoth that's very difficult to put together to even get to the ROI phase, right? So you're already using automations to say, make sending emails easier for your people, or note taking, or sales calls, or making sure that training is easier, or putting together standard operating procedures. Like the basic stuff that just takes forever, and you can build a workflow on N8N for, and then bam, you got an ROI because it's time saving.
Yeah, like 90% of my job now has been automated, and so I don't tell them that because who knows who's cutting hours. But yeah, at that point, it's like really my job is managing an automated system.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think what AI has done for me in the past few years is I've moved up the stack. There's just, there's like a few years ago, you would split up a software team into like front end devs, back end devs, database manager, and infrastructure and DevOps, right? But it's like now as many people have with AI, have been able to master them all and build this, okay, for example, I have an app online and it's got like 5 different microservices. So it's costing me like $50 a month to run this shit. And so recently what I've done, because I've been able to like move up the stack with AI, is create run one single VM Hetzner like server to host all that in one, so it's like saving me money, but like I'll pass.
No, like not pass, not yet, because what you're saying is interesting. Like it is. The fact that what you're able to build right now is just miles above what you were able to build before is interesting in and of itself. But you're telling me that you've built an app that has different microservices, then you're hosting it on a VM, right? So
yeah. So like in the past, in the past year or two, yes, there were 5 different microservices. So I was having to pay for like each of these different, servers to run small software, and then just having one single server, and then you writing code, infrastructure as code, to combine all those microservices into one computer. And that's where the money savings, that's what I think where the return on investment would be.
dude, you are right there. Like, this is something that I've been thinking about, like, word for word for a long time. Well, I say a long time. It's like 5 days. So an eon for a dog or a fly or something. But anyway, but like, I watch a lot. I consume a ridiculous amount of content. And in fact, I just got the situation. The whole reason I built the brain was to take the content that I consume, sort it correctly, and be able to remember it. Like, so perfect recall. That's the whole reason I built it, right? But a lot of the people that I watch and a lot of the stuff that I watch have referred to something called the Great Unbundling.
The great what? Unbundling?
Unbundling.
Love that.
Right?
Well said.
I know. Right? It's not mine, right? But it's theirs. And the whole premise of it is that these microservices that you used to have to pay for, Ryan, right? The crazy thing about this is that you have to pay for this microservice or that microservice. And the most annoying bit about it is that a lot of the time, these microservices that you're paying for, right, they have other services that you're not using at all, but you still have to pay their full monthly subscription, even though you're using 20, 30, 40% of the subscription that you're paying for, right? There's so many services on that list of services that you're not getting or not using, right? And the reason that these companies have been successful is because it required a full stack developer, right? It required one of you guys to build one of those services for any company. So once they had enough money to pay for somebody to build those services, well, they could just stack on and they could increase their subscription cost. But now everybody has the power of a developer. Anyone can develop anything, right? So what you build with your stack here, that could be packaged and that could be sold. And we can unbundle services like Zillow or Zapier, right? And all of these big things that offer all of these different services that you're paying for anytime you're sending a Zap or booking a house or selling a house, right? All these different things that you're not using. No, instead, one of us could get on tomorrow and we could build one of the things that Zillow does really well, build a sweet, like sexy UI, right? A nice website to go along with it. And then we could package that and sell just that service to a very specific people or specific demographic, right? Group of people in our area, right? And just sell that for a fraction of the price. And we could do that in a weekend and do another one next weekend and another one next weekend, right? And the cool part, the way that you get a real bang for your buck is if you build the stuff that helps your business, because then you don't only make money by selling the thing that you're building, you make money with the money that you're not spending on the microservices. So it's a very long and circuitous way of saying that you're a genius, Ryan. Well done.
It had a lot of teachers,
Yeah, they did good.
And AI is, yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere without that.
You and me neither.
I think it's safe to say I probably know the least about AI and automation in this room, but that's kind of why I joined everyone together today, so I could learn a thing or two.
I do encourage you, Grant, to like sign up for that GitHub account ASAP, though.
Okay.
You can like start just like it's kind of helped me like whenever I'm ready to start a project, I just create a GitHub repo, and that's where I put all my stuff for that.
I see. Yeah. Okay. That's a good suggestion. I'm definitely make a note of that. But yeah, so I mean, I'll just kind of give my 2 cents on how I've stepped into this world, or, like barely tiptoed into it. So I was basically at a point where I was in the e-com world 2019, 2020, where I really knew the digital marketing side very well, and I wasn't in a position to hire, a full stack developer or really partner with one at the time. And I knew very, very little code, like just enough to I'm talking like putting tags on a site and just like very simple, basic stuff. But there was always these like ideas that I had of how I wanted my back end of my site to work with my email, my automated email provider or my CRM, or, there's just like a lot of things that I wanted, but I couldn't do because, I was using Shopify at the time and it had what's called an app store, where I guess those are basically integrations, but it's very limited because it's either it's there for you to use or it's not. So I felt like I had all these ideas, but I couldn't really execute on them, I guess is the simplest way to put it. And then now fast forward, I'm now a realtor. I've been that for about 2 years now. And there was I was running into those same issues where I was like, okay, I'm basically using AI to write my blogs, for example, where I would like prompt it and get really good feedback, and I would kind of make manual edits. And then I would be manually putting that into the back end of my site. And each blog post would take me 3 to 4 hours, of which I was doing maybe one a week, because it just took so much time, even with everything that I was given. And it was really good for SEO and all of that, but it just took so much time. So I literally just started talking to AI, ChatGPT, and I was just like, hey, how do I automate this? And through a long and really painful process, I ended up automating my blog. And I actually ended up doing that for Ryan and for one other agent in the Florida market. It's a really simple workflow, but I guess through it, the most important part through the process has just been learning prompt engineering and so forth to make it like actually effective in SEO and so forth. And quite honestly, the biggest improvement that it's made in my business has been the Google business page, because it posts on the Google business page with each blog post kind of alongside of that. So it's been a very like marketing first, like front end first kind of experience for me. And I kind of have backed into the development side just through literally AI telling me exactly what to do, to be quite honest with you guys. I'm still a noob at this, to say the least, but it's just been kind of interesting to see me overcome some of the challenges that I previously faced before I knew anything about code. And I still know nothing about it, but at least I have a companion, with me at all times to help me with that. Another interesting thing that I've done in my real estate business has been, I have a 58 lot subdivision that I'm representing the seller on. And I created a community sitemap that's actually interactive. I used to work for a national home builder, and I know that the home builder used to pay thousands of dollars for a similar product. And I did it basically all for free by taking a Plat map and feeding that into AI and prompting it to get it the exact look that I wanted. And then I kind of used a map, so to speak, of the overlay, so I can tell like which ones are available, which ones are pending, and which ones are sold. And I can update that with the backend code. But those have just been two like simple versions of in my world, being a realtor, of how I've used AI to make my life a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see. I think like you're highlighting the assistance of what's been going on. Like I also like, even with my certification, one of the programs I use is Figma to build a lot of front end stuff. And it was my certification teaching me to make it from scratch, but then I'm like, this is going to take me forever. And now I just use the primary tool I've been using is Anthropic. And in 5 minutes, I got all of my stuff done. And then kind of what I've been doing is working backwards and just learning how it did from the how it did its creation and doing it backwards. So I can still learn and still know what's going on, but at the same time, like, oh, this is such a time saver for me. And then when I'm building my portfolio site and building my case studies, some of the stuff I don't need to know now or don't need to do. So the knowledge is still required, but the the actual building, oh my gosh, I get to save so much time, which I really like. And what can get me, something I can't replace is the time. And so how can I use it to my benefit? And the Anthropic tools have been super helpful for me on that end. And then even just like finding knowledge in areas that I want to learn on, but I don't want to sit there scouring the internet, trying to start from zero. And I have my Anthropic, like I know JT was talking about, as little access information it gets and stuff. But I'm just like, allow all permissions and just like answer all my questions, please. Just scour the internet, scour my Gmail. Like, I don't care, have all the permissions. Make this as easy as possible for me.
You like to live dangerously.
Oh, I do. I don't care. I was just like, I have nothing to hide. All right. Like if Anthropic takes all my information and sells it, what are they? Google? Okay, it's already been done. And so it's like helped me develop a plan for like I want to get into accessibility and microcopy. So it's scouring the web and telling me this is the price for this, and this is these are the thought leaders in this area, and these certifications will get you in this area, and yada yada. I'm like, okay, I got 3 months of finances saved to just learn. Like, what can we do to time this well, and what do I need to learn first, and what's going to take time. And it's just even in the ideation aspect, to me it's been super useful to understand, what do I need to do, and what do I need to learn, and I don't have to waste so much time scouring all these websites and information. And as we know, like there's so much content out there, and what's right, what's not, what's misleading, what isn't, what's just clickbait. And so I will still click on the links it suggested just to make sure it's not, giving me false information and whatnot. But it's been super helpful for me on that. Like just basic. I think if someone's job's going anywhere, it's assistance. I mean, it is my assistant, and it's been very helpful on that end. But that's all I got.
I mean, that's good stuff. It is, genuinely, right? And I'm curious about what you mean by accessibility and microcopy, right? What I'm picturing is like whenever somebody says something and then they say another thing in parentheses and maybe italics behind it. Is that the microcopy, or what exactly is the microcopy?
So the microcopy is just basically like if you look at our thumbnails and it has our names on it. Why is that there? Is it useful? Is it helpful? Is it in the way? Like I would say something like the way my brain thinks is like when I look at the layout here, panoptic. Is that, how do you say that? Panoptic?
Panoptic.
Oh, okay. There's no R in there, so sorry. But to me, it's like, okay, that little bubble like covers your face a little bit. So it's like, what do we do to make that better looking and more accessible in that sense? Accessibility overall is just like, is this website able to use for someone who uses a screen reader, or someone who completely operates with a keyboard or switch or whatever that is? So, or if you're low vision, that kind of stuff. So that to me, like I have a very strong sense of justice and high empathy, kind of why like I was in the recovery world in that sense, and just stuff I've been through. So I like to advocate for, those edge cases and people who are using stuff that you wouldn't think, need on a day-to-day basis. So if your abilities aren't 100% and you need assistance, whether it's for the rest of your life or whether it's because your eye got scratched and you can only see with one eye, and that eye, whatever. So it's just like stuff like that, like making our experience on the internet, making our experience on our devices optimal for everybody's life experience. So inclusivity, basically. So I'm fascinated by that. I've always been really good with words, so I like to look at stuff where titles are and icons and stuff, and how intuitive is that, and is it easy for someone to understand? And like I love words, but to me most of the time it means how less can we say and still say as much as we need at the same time. So those kind of things fascinate me. And I don't really have anyone locally that is into UX or UI or my copy or accessibility. So everything I'm learning is online, and trying to scour LinkedIn and Twitter and just watching what those thought leaders in those areas are doing. And then obviously I've been using, I like to use my Plat to just gather information for me. And right now it's just been a very information heavy season. I'm just like learning. And then, you know, some skill building as I go. And then hopefully I will, like, you know, in turn one day the skill is much more enjoyable because the process of learning it and the process of using it is assisted by something as advanced as what we're seeing in with AI right now. But yeah, great question.
I love this and good answer. Right?
Yeah, everything Isaiah said spoke to me as a marketer. I mean, you know, just coming from the e-com world, I'll say my spiel that kind of aligns with what Isaiah said. The more people that can read your website or your app and use it, obviously that's a bigger buyer pool. So it makes financial sense, not only ethical sense. Love that, Isaiah. And then secondly, I totally agree with, you know, everything he was saying with, you know, everything on the page, you know, is this necessary, and simplifying it and making it as easy as possible. Because everything that I'm seeing right now that's converting well is, you know, obviously funnels and less words sometimes sell better, more visuals. And then, you know, also, you know, just like, you know, how changing just a few words or one word on a landing page could quite literally be the difference between someone signing up or purchasing versus not. And I know that just from A/B tests that I ran from the e-com world, where, you know, you're running the same kind of ads to the same landing page, but it's two different versions of it. And it's like one word difference and one converts way better. So yeah, totally agree with that, Isaiah.
Yeah, what you just said right there, that's exactly the thing. Because I'll build a website and I will think of it from your point of view, from your perspective, Grant. I'll be like, okay, how exactly does this need to be structured to make the customer journey better, right? If I'm going to lay a heat map over this, how are they going to read this content? What's their experience like as they're scrolling through it? But I never take into account, right, people who had an accident, people who can't read the website the right way, right? And that kind of accessibility, like, that's something that I haven't considered. And in fact, I'd definitely like to talk to you offline at some point, right? Just to have you take a look at some websites that I make so that I can get a feel for how accessible they really are. And another shtick about microcopy is I want it to be user-friendly, but I also want to figure out a way to kind of blend that into the story, to fold it into the story per se, right? If you can make the microcopy be funny, right? Like, for example, instead of panoptic digital architecture being, you know, Mr. Retirement Community, right? Some shit like that you just fold into the user experience. So the microcopy is just like, okay, yeah, the subtitles made me laugh on that one, right?
And to me too, like I'm creative forward, I'm experience forward, and that's where I don't think AI will ever replace your taste and your own experience and what you find humorous and stuff. So build it for me, and then I'm gonna go in and go, oh, I want to make that funnier, and that needs to be moved over a little bit. And that's not quite how I want to say it, but it's a start. So it, like, for me, it lowers that barrier of entry so that I can just poop out a crazy good looking website, and then where I come in and my skill is my eye of, okay, how do I make this extension of me? How do I tell a story that from my experience that isn't something Claude can do for me? You know, it's just like, all right, cool, I'm gonna look at this and break it down, and then yeah, who else is going to experience? Because even when I was sitting in the hospital, I was looking at my phone, and like I could only use one hand for several months, and so I was like, oh, what apps were fun to use, easy to use, you know what I mean? When I had one right thumb to use, actually it was my left hand. A lot of left hand experience I had to learn, and how easy. Yeah, why did I, you know, drop off and not go into that app or that website, because it was so difficult to use, because I'm not the majority of people who are right-handed using this. I'm just using my one hand, left hand, and stuff like that. So a lot of, you know, principles that come into there, Gestalt principles and all that fun stuff. But yeah, you know,
you mentioned how your hand was broke. I would strongly recommend keeping that story around for when you apply to internships and jobs for accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be good.
for
Yeah,
sure. I like that, Ryan. Yeah.
yeah.
And then Eric, you were telling me last time we were together about something you were working on specifically for your mom and her being able to. It almost aligns. I could see you and Isaiah kind of aligning on that little project you were telling me about. I don't want to spill the beans on it, but you can share that if you'd like.
Oh, you're not spilling any beans. And once again, dude, you're 2 for 2. You said exactly what I was thinking.
Okay. I mean, that's what I was thinking, just hearing like you two talking back and forth about it. So
But yeah, so my mom, she got sick. She was diagnosed with stage 4 renal cell carcinoma. And the biggest change in her life was what she could eat. Right? It gets very restrictive. It does. And what I've been doing in my spare time is building an app that gives her the ability to take a picture of a menu at a restaurant and say, what can I eat on this menu? Right? How does it need to be prepared? All that kind of information. Then it makes food logging easier. It can remember patterns. It can, keep track of the oxalates that she's eaten or the phosphorus intake for that day. And it doesn't only say how much she has, but how much she has less. So she can use it to make a plan for a day. And then if that day goes a little different, she has a glass of wine or something, she can adjust by just telling Claude that she had a glass of wine. Thing is, I'm working on a front end. And I'm a fan of a front end, right? But I'm no front end enthusiast, right? Wes and I, we're more back end guys, right? I've always been a fan of a good backside. And there's just something about it, right? So I would love to have some front end conversations to see if we could make an app like this a little bit more accessible, right? Because my mom, as she's been using it, has said that, okay, this can work, this can work, this can work. I like this. And I guess for context, she spent just under 40 years as an ER physician. So that's the benefit of being able to do this, because she knows exactly what her oxalate intake should be. So whenever, either Codex or Claude hallucinates and they come up with some answer, she's just like, wait a second, that's wrong. So yeah. Great for feedback. And I'm really good with the back end. Right, I've got all the integrations set up. I've got APIs to the USDA database, the Harvard Oxalate database. I've got all this set up. And then I can make a front end that's appealing psychologically. I can make a front end that's easy to use, right? Much to your point, Grant. But I can't make a front end that's accessible because I haven't thought about it like that before. And right, I think that's because I didn't get into a car accident and break my hand and have to use these apps one-handed, right? And I think your perspective would be invaluable on not only a project like this, but plenty in the future.
Yeah, there's also really I'm very new into this, so I'm doing a lot of research, but there are cool plugins that you can use and they can test it and give you, there's ratings of, the accessibility on, for vision, for, contrast and, simple stuff like that, but it can go really deep into the deep end of that kind of stuff. So that's the fun part, just what could I not think of, and how do I solve that when I run into that? That's the human side experience. But then you got a tool that will once you find out what those problems are, solving it isn't so crazy hard, which makes it, I think it'll make everybody more interested in solving the more nuanced problems because the barrier to entry is lowered.
Yeah, I think so. Right. But if we've got people with the knowledge base that we have here, and this is a proverbial melting pot of knowledge, right? It's a good room to be in. I think that we can solve those problems a bit faster. And now, kind of to your point, Isaiah, right? That's what's going to be sold, right? That's the real value. That's the intrinsic value. It's creativity, It's what you can come up with, how you look at things, because anyone's able to do anything now. This guy's tops and blown off of this thing. So now it's about what kind of way could I use this that's different than the way that everybody else is. And if you can apply some of that to some of the apps that I can create, yeah, we could come up with some cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely agreed.
I agree with you too. Ryan, I know at the beginning you were talking about wanting to show everyone the stuff you were using to apply for jobs. I'm real curious about that one.
I love this. He's like, let me get started.
I hope I think you should be able to share your screen. I hope I don't have a setting turned on that doesn't allow you to do that.
Plat, how do I share screen?
Oh, there we go. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Let me take my gloves off 1 second.
Something told me that the people in this room wouldn't have an issue sharing their screen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly new to Google Meet. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Ryan, you're still in Colorado right now, right?
Yeah, visiting Boulder today. It's a very cute town.
That's where
I've been there. Yeah, I've been there too.
The Woods is where were you originally from, Eric?
Breckenridge. Right. My mom was born in Colorado Springs back before it was a city. And I wasn't born in Breckenridge or anything, but I moved out to Breckenridge after my stint as a whitewater guide so that I could learn to snowboard. And I didn't make it up to Boulder, though. I wanted to go. It seemed like the college town, right? If you want to go to some college parties, Boulder's where you go. What do you think? Is it accurate?
Yeah, it is
I
very
think with that
lively here.
outfit, definitely.
Right, in Colorado. Dude, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to wear some Sanooks, and I'm just going to be sliding across the parking lot that's got 4 feet of ice on it.
Black ice.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is your dashboard. You built this.
Yeah, very quickly. So it's I just wanted a place to track. I'm specifically targeting healthcare technology companies. So these are all those. And anytime I want to find new ones, so okay, let me show you by vendor. When you're applying to jobs, like, you know, these companies use ATS, like applicant tracking systems. And some of these are better than others. Like as a candidate, it's just easier to apply to some of these than others. So I tried to target some of those. And here in the Launch Probe, whenever, like up at the top, we can see that there's currently 259 companies, healthcare technology companies in this data set. And I've applied to 37% of them, and I've viewed 94% of them. And whenever I want to add new ones, I come here and I choose which target sources I want. And then just launch, and I can actually run like 4 agents at a time that are doing deep research on these. And, you know, you let it run for 5 minutes, and then it's like, found 6 more companies to apply to, and then it just adds it in here. And then whenever I click this, it shows viewed. And whenever I apply to one, I just click here, and I can also upvote or downvote. And so if I downvote, then it's because it's not remote, or maybe the job board URL doesn't exist, like the agent hallucinated it, low salary ranges, etc. And I've just made this a few weeks ago, and I think it's utterly, like, I applied to 50 jobs in one day. That was insane.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, okay. Does anyone have any questions before I show the other thing?
Yes, I've got some questions. So with this, you've got your vendor here. What does the vendor do exactly? You mentioned ATS.
Yeah, so these are the different vendors right here. These are they're ATS, applicant tracking systems. These are companies. These right here are a list of companies that other companies pay to, you know, host their job boards, host their database of all the applicants who applied, that sort of thing.
So like recruiting companies or no?
No, it's like these are Okay, so let me show you. Ashby HQ is an all-in-one recruiting software. So I guess it does use the word recruiting, but just a place for recruiters to
So it would be
manage.
like, I guess, is ZipRecruiter like a version of this? I guess.
Yeah,
like
that would be one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. I see.
Or
Indeed.
Yeah, your interesting database angle is levels FYI, right? That's a good one. And so, yeah, Wes, whenever I was targeting software engineers for the financial planning company, right, this is where I did a lot of my company research. And I think that that's an interesting way to back into the data for this, because I can imagine ZipRecruiter, right, to your point, Grant, would charge a decent amount for any kind of API access. So hooking into their database so that you can build the front end like this, right?
Mhm.
Pain in the ass. But levels.fyi, that's an interesting way to come at this. Let's see what you got. Could you launch a probe, or would that cost a decent amount of money?
Oh, this is so funny. And yeah, no, it does cost money, but
Okay.
let me see. Let's run Lever and Ashby. I've already got a lot of Ashby. That's one of my favorites. These first two are my favorites, so I've got most of those.
Okay.
And maybe YC launch, or no, Hacker News. That's a good one. Okay, so we'll launch that, and it just runs for 5 minutes, and then we can even come here to launch probe again and run one in parallel. Maybe just Hacker News this time, and here it is on this side. And whenever they're finished, it'll tell us how many job boards it found.
Interesting. I do notice that you targeted Hacker News twice. So that said, if you're targeting multiple at one time, does it just kind of lose out because of privacy bias, context windows, that sort of thing? And if you target one at a time, it's more accurate?
It is, yeah, much definitely better when you do one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
information.
I like this. Yeah. Well built.
Thanks. And if you guys are usually you would want to like host a database or something, but for something so simple like this, all I did was I created a folder right here called database. Let me make this bigger. And it's not actually a database. It's just this folder is being used as a database. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 tables, database tables. And each of these just simply contains a CSV file with the list of companies, with the list of companies that I've applied to, with the list of companies that I've viewed, and with the list of companies that I've voted for.
Okay. Copy. Right. So we boil all of this down. The dominoes have fallen, or they're at least in the process of falling. How's it working so far?
What's your question?
How's it working? This whole system, in your
Oh
opinion?
yeah, this has absolutely changed my career. Like the way that I apply to jobs. I'm so happy because like LinkedIn is just filled with recruiters. It's kind of a pain in the ass, and so you're just like applying to all these middlemen. Whereas my system here, I'm applying directly to the companies. I'm finding their precise links and URLs for their job boards.
This is good. I mean, seriously. To your point earlier about, not paying for all these microservices, you ever thought about just packaging this up, building a little website, and selling this to it?
Yeah, I thought about even just like open sourcing this, but I would do that like after I find a job because I might like try to make the dashboard a little bit. If while I'm still applying to jobs, maybe I want to make some improvements and.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it generating, what is that, your resume at all? Is it just pulling a resume that you have already, or maybe a set of resumes that you have for types of jobs?
That's what I was going to ask.
So I know that some people do edit their resumes specifically for the jobs. Usually I would just keep one resume and that's me, and the companies can take it or leave it.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of those recruiting databases now have an AI. So if it looks like this is exactly who you need, they're going to bypass it. I've noticed that in a lot of hiring processes.
Like on my website with the resume, you can, whenever I send people to this link, they can press download in either a 2-page or a 1-page. So the 1-page is in black and white, and the 2-page is more colorful.
I like that site too.
This is blowing my mind. Like, wow.
Okay, tax filings. All right. So the way that
I'm gonna grab a drink.
okay. Yeah, so I've had my own LLC for like 12 years, and throughout that time, you know, in the beginning, I hired an accountant to help me with taxes every year and you know, categorizing expenses and such. And then, you know, for many years I used things like, you know, TurboTax and H&R Block. And because I've had my own business and I've always just been so accustomed to categorizing expenses, this process was a little more intuitive for me, I think. So the first step that I did is
Yeah, I'm hurrying. I got you.
let me start the dashboard server. Oh, that's high model. Here. Okay, first thing I did before I even started coding was went to all of my bank accounts, all of my credit cards, and downloaded the data, the CSV files. And because I saved them here in data, so I've got you know, statements here in 2025 statements. Here are categorized expenses, and they're or first they started as uncategorized. So you can see here I put my Apple Card, my Mercury Bank, TD Bank, Venmo card, and then as soon as this is up, here's the dashboard. This is another thing that I vibe coded pretty quickly, like less than an hour. And so what this does is I imported all those different CSV files from all the different financial, it's called a financial aggregator. That's what this sort of software is called typically. So this whole list right here, very, very long list. I think there's like 1,000 expenses. And that's all of them combined. And then I can go through, let me minimize this and see on the side, decide between business, categorize them between business and personal. And then over here on the side, these are all my rules that I've created. So anytime there's a apple.com/bill, then I automatically categorize them as business. Anytime it says Heroku or Microsoft, those are all business. Like this grocery store, that's personal, right? So it automatically, it sets rules so that way next year, whenever these same rules appear in all my finances again, I don't have to like recategorize them. They'll already be categorized. So this was basically an investment into my financial future. You know, it's let me continue with the taxes.
Okay.
And so once that was done, once I categorized all 1,000 expenses, I came back to, what the code did for me was it took these uncategorized folder and categorized them. And then for the taxes, what I ultimately did, let me see, mail, right here. Okay, so this is my taxes. And that has my social security number. So Grant, if you can please.
So for the cyber security standpoint, you might want to put some of that in the
Screenshot. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So yeah, that's it. There's the way that it works is Python. There's just like Py files that is just mathematically so like 2025. That's a bad thing to search, but what it's done is codified my. Sorry, all the coffee shops closing up. All the doors and stuff are closing, and all the chairs are up on their up on the tables. Here.
Yep. You got to scram.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna stop sharing, but I'll stay in the call. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'm working on something similar like this. I don't have any of my servers plugged in yet. That's tomorrow, so I would show. But what I'm working on is an automated like receipt for my 1099 and my LLC, where I basically will scan them on my printer. I need my physical receipts, and it will send it to a database that uses Tesseract.js to pull the text from it, and then using an LLM, it'll take the totals of it, and it'll find, where was it spent, what card was it on, and based on the card, then we'll file those transactions, and then give me a better, because everybody's probably got one of those finance apps, or maybe your bank has one built in, but I find that they're pretty awful and really inaccurate, and you can't go in and say, hey, I would like this to be this from now on. And so building something where I basically either take a picture of it from my phone, and then it will then categorize that and store those pictures. So when tax season comes, I have copies of the physical receipts, and then I've also got them in a CSV format or a markdown or whatever format that I need for it with the card. And then it will automatically say, hey, okay, through what I used US Free Tax USA this year, and which was way easier than Turbo. But then that they go, hey, would you like to take your 10,000 in deductions? And so next year I go, no, actually spent a lot more than that. And instead of just taking the chunk of it, it makes that way easier. So even miles driven, and I'm working on getting one of those smart car things where it'll actually track miles. And so it will give me a much better understanding of where I was based on Apple Maps and that API, where I was going. So how much the travel time was, how much the travel distance was, how much I would have spent on gas based on the most recent gas prices. And so then that way I could do a much better deduction, and I have a much better idea of, okay, this is how much I've actually spent traveling. So I've had my car for 4 years, and I think I put like 60 or 70,000 miles on it. A lot of it for work. And so for me, especially now with the gas prices, it's hard to keep track of how much should I actually spend on gas this month or even through the year. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah. And really cool to hear too. Could you rewind a little bit? Right. You mentioned your printer when you were talking about your ingest flow,
yeah.
Right? How you're getting data into this schlemail. But then you also mentioned CSVs, and like my knee-jerk action is like CSVs are going to be a bit more effective than a printer because you can just download it and then ingest, and then you can automate that process. But what does your full ingest flow look like across all of these different services?
So, like the best for what I'm working on right now, my best option I think right now is I scan it through a printer, either through the glass or the feed printer. I've got a nice printer, but it'll take it in, it'll scan it to a email. So I just basically send it to email. That email then through N8N will take that attachment, run it through Tesseract, and then Tesseract will extract text. So it's basically just doing a text extract, and we'll send that into JSON with just rich text format, plain text format, and then one of those AIs will then take it and basically go, okay, this is the total, this is where it was, and this is the card. That's basically the information it gets. Okay. And then it will then send that copy, the scanned copy, to one of my local servers. That's just a document server essentially, and we'll then store it based on the month and the day. And so then that way I can a day breakdown have, okay, this is the day, these are all the receipts for this day, or these are all the receipts for the month. And through that, it will extract that information, put it into a CSV service that then a different workflow can then take from. And so it will be, it would basically be a massive CSV or table. It's really a table, but you can export it as CSV. But it's an end-to-end local table, and it will take, amount, card, date, total, and kind of it'll kind of tell me kind of what it is, like generally, what was it? Was it food? Was it transportation? Was it travel? Was it equipment? Was it technology? Like what was it? And so it'll do best guess. No, so that I use AI for. I allow it to kind of go, okay, what did I buy from? Is it fries? That's probably grocery. Or was it Micro Center, which I do a lot of now. That's going to be technology. Like Amazon's awful with their invoices. And so I automatically just send it straight to the printer. And at the end of the day, I basically just scan it back through, which I could set up a workflow to actually send it straight to N8N. But I'm kind of lazy and I like being tactile with things. And so, but it'll do basically all of that. And then at the end of the year, I then have every purchase I've made with proofs in a folder. And I built this kind of a sort of system, which really helped me when moving in, because they came back because I'm on a 1099. And so they're like, well, there's two sources of income. We don't know if you actually make this much. And so I was able to prove based on pulling up my transactions from my bank statements and the receipts. And I was basically able to through their system and basically able to prove I do make X amount of money, even though on my W-2 and my 1099, totally different numbers, totally different people, essentially, different companies, but I still do make this much money.
And you were able to prove it, and they took it.
Yeah, and they took it, which was easy. So,
yeah, dude, you're like a tech-savvy Ron Swanson. I like it. Because I thought that Ron Swanson was my favorite character already, but now I'm picturing him with like, I don't know, one of those old hacker get-ups. Right? Like
even a circuit TV in the corner of his room.
You guys need matching outfits.
Oh my god. Dude, that would be amazing. I feel like I also want to like integrate these like Secret Service glasses in there too. But I'm not sure why. I think that's just been a shtick that I've been on lately because one of the clients that I'm developing, prospect really, but I'm trying to convince him to change his name. Right? He runs a pest control company here in Dahlonega. It's called the Pest Control. Right? I want him to switch to the BEA or the Bug Enforcement Agency. And anytime he goes out there, I want him to have like BEA, like the jacket and everything that says BEA on the back. And then he's got like the glasses and this whole deal. So I think that might be where that's coming from. Forgive me. I'm just analyzing myself and I'm thinking that I'm applying that outfit to this outfit. This one needs to be different. It needs to be blue light glasses like these. Orange. Stylish.
Nice. Those are very Eric-ish.
Yeah.
He's definitely sweet Eric.
Right?
I have a pair of glasses like that. They're red tinted or infrared. Yeah, I get that. I'm on that wave.
Yeah, like I have to wear these because like every now and then I'll wake up at like 3 a.m. and all I can think about is the project that I'm working on. And I know that that's bad for my eyes. I do. So got a pair of these on Amazon. And now whenever I'm doing some of that early morning coding, these babies are on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a little past the scheduled time here, guys. I know I said it was from 5 to 6, but we went about 13 minutes over, it looks like. I don't want to end our party here early, but I also want to be respectful to everyone's time. So I think we definitely kind of pollinated our minds together like I was expecting. I definitely feel like I know way less than I thought going in now, which is a good thing. I think, I definitely want to surround myself with people always that are doing more than I'm currently doing. So I just looked up to everyone that I invited here today. In a unique perspective and in their own individual ways. And just through talking individually with a lot of y'all, it just sounded like there was a lot of similar stuff going on, and that there was, you know, just like potential collaboration. If at worst case scenario, at least everyone gets to meet each other and get to know like-minded people. I always think that that's good. I would love to do another one of these. I don't know how y'all feel. Y'all can, I'll send an independent survey maybe after this, but hopefully everyone found this as valuable as me.